In my last video about lessons we can learn from video games, there was one that I forgot to talk about, which I think is one of the most important ones, which is the idea that the more behind you are, imagine like a one versus one game. This is a lesson I learned specifically from Hearthstone, a card game. But basically, imagine you are behind. So you're currently losing, and you might be tempted to try to avoid losing and play very safely and take very few risks. But actually, the correct thing to do is to take more risks because if everything goes at equal parity with your opponent, you will inevitably lose. So you're the one who actually has to get lucky, has to take some more risks and be more aggressive to come back from this deficit. And you have less to lose because you're already going to lose if nothing else changes along the current course. On the other hand, if you're winning and you're ahead, you have to switch your mode of thinking from how can I crush this person as hard as possible to how can I avoid giving them any outs, any chance to win. So instead of thinking about your win condition, start to think about their win condition and how you can deny that. Because if you can stop them from accessing their win, you will inevitably win since you're already ahead. And this applies to life in a couple of ways, but the main one is an often heard adage: if you have nothing to lose, why not gamble everything, right? And many of us younger folks are in this stage of life where there aren't many risks to take. You can start a business, you can go to school, you can take on some amount of debt, student debt or otherwise. You can take risks because you have a long time to build back from it. And even if you lose 100 times, you only have to win once. So there's an asymmetry in the value of the outcomes for you. And this is the case in business as well. You can take a lot of swings at bat, and only one of them has to be a home run for you to retire for life. And this brings me to another topic, which is just personal wealth and personal finance. There's this really good article by Mr. Money Mustache. I will link it in the description. He talks about how you can retire as a function, like how soon you can retire as a function of your rate of savings of your take home pay. And that's it. So you could be a minimum wage worker, and as long as you manage to keep your expenses lower than your income and save some amount of money, you can retire in X years. And he has a really useful table basically showing, like, if you can save 55% or something, you can retire in 11 years. If you could save 70 or 80%, that goes up to like 5 or 6 years. So there's a lot of value in lowering your expenses and saving as much as possible. Because once you hit that amount, you could live off of that indefinitely. You just draw down 4% a year. It grows at more than 4% a year just from being invested in an index fund. And thus you have money infinitely. And if the work of Brian Johnson and, Aubrey de Grey and SENS and all of these other anti-aging foundations is really coming to fruition, we might be one of the first generations that could live to 1,000 plus. Which means this is even more important to get done as soon as you can, because your retirement might not just be from age 60 to 80 or 90. It might be from age 60 to 1,020. And so when you think about that, this truly is the closest to true freedom that you can achieve with your own two hands, is achieving that number. So just imagine, what amount do you need to live on per year? Multiply that by 25. So let's say you need 40,000 a year, multiplied by 25, that's $1 million. If you can save $1 million, you are financially free and independent. And that could fund you for hundreds or thousands of years after that. Until next time, take care.